Hey everyone. This week I've been having lots of conversations around how to lead well through uncertainty and complexity. And so I want to share with you three things that I think are critical from my own experience and working alongside and supporting leaders who are dealing with very complex and changing environments. So the first thing is this idea of complex and chaotic versus like business as usual, right? And so many organizations have complexity and a chaotic nature to their context that is just ongoing. It's not that it ebbs and flows. It's not that we have periods of chaos and complexity. It is the environment in which more and more of us are operating day to day now. And so, how is it that we can, rather than think that this is something that gets in the way of business as usual, actually understand that it is part of our business as usual? Because when we understand that, it doesn't become something that gets in the way of us doing the work. It becomes something that is an inherent part of how we approach doing the work. So I reckon there's a really important role for leaders in terms of understanding that when we operate in complexity, when we have an ongoing environment that is changing, it takes more of our brain power, right? Because we can't operate on autopilot. And so this constant need to reassess and think about what's going on, what do I need to respond to in what way? That's the reality in which most of us operate now. And as leaders, communicating that to our team members and understanding that actually chaos and the chaotic nature and the complex nature of our environments is business as usual. And what that will do is help close the expectation reality gap of our team members so that rather than them having a big response when chaos and complexity arise, they understand, no, this is just the environment that we're working in, and we understand that actually this is normal. So chaos and complexity as business as usual, I think that's a really important part of how we navigate it more successfully. The second point is around the ideas of clarity, certainty, and control. Now, look, given the complex nature in which we're most of us operating in, there are often things that are outside of our control that fundamentally influence the way that we work. And the challenge with this is that people feel unsure about kind of what's coming at them around the corner. Now, unfortunately, spending time, effort, and energy trying to look around the corner is just a waste of valuable resources. It wastes our time, our effort, our energy, and it depletes us. And that doesn't serve us because change and complexity is exhausting enough, right? It takes energy to think and act in that agile way and to be aware, open, and curious to think about what's the right way for us to respond here. The challenge in this is that certainty is a hardwired need, like our brains are wired for certainty, and it helps us feel safe and confident to take action. So, the critical part of this is accepting what we can't control and making progress based on what we know to be true, at least for now. Like knowing that it's going to change, it's likely to, we're going to need to adjust, but it's a critical mindset for everyone. And leaders, one of the most important things that we can do is provide clarity to our people around what is known, what is not known, and given that, what good looks like in terms of progress. And that's how we really role model this mindset. So, this idea of clarity, certainty, and control, how do we find the right balance in that for people still to feel that they can make progress? Because for team members, that is the most important thing that helps them feel engaged and motivated is a sense of making progress. So, that's the second factor. Third factor is this idea of perspectives on primary and priority. Primary and priority. Now, because many of our organizations have a broad remit, but also because our environments are complex and changing, it's natural that there are going to be competing commitments and different perspectives across the organization, across our teams, across the individuals in our teams around what should be primary as a priority for next action, next steps, resources. People may genuinely be following what they believe needs to be the priority from their perspective, and their primary responsibility. And yet, from an organizational perspective, that may not be the case. It may be that actually by them leaning in to what they feel is the best contribution they can make, they're actually moving something else in the organization or another team's work backwards. So differing perspectives on primary and priority are a main cause of conflict between teams and between individuals. So how do we resolve this? The thing to do is to bring above the surface, how are we making these decisions? What is the primary expectation, the primary accountability, the perspective we have on what should be our priority here, and actually talk about that? Because until we bring that above the surface, we're not having the right conversation. We're not having the conversation about the right thing, because it stops being then about pointing fingers and starts being about, we've just got a different understanding of what needs to be primary here, of what our priority is. And as leaders, sometimes only we have the perspective, the whole of picture, the whole of system perspective that can help people see why a particular aspect is a primary priority right now. So encouraging and inviting conversations that surface what people believe to be the primary priority helps to resolve those issues. And it means that we also need to do that difficult work of confronting all the ways that perhaps we haven't done that before and that have led us into patterns of dysfunction that actually need to be dissolved in order for us to make the progress we need to make. So those three things, complex and chaos as part of business as usual. How is it we can create clarity, certainty, and a sense of control by identifying what's ours to control and making progress based on that? And how is it we can surface perspectives on what is primary and priority so that people can pull in the same direction and feel that they're making the contribution alongside their peers and colleagues? That's how I reckon we lead exceptionally through challenging, complex, and changing environments. Until next time, bye for now.